Whoa. 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 Okay. Who expected this to happen? If you were to tell me that Auburn would go into Waco with arguably the best quarterback in the Big 12 and not just win this game, not just get out of Waco with a much needed victory, what, in my opinion, could probably be the biggest win of the Hugh Freeze era, the most important victory of the Hugh Freeze era, and not just win, but dominate, I'd have thought you were crazy. But guys, you better strap in because we got a lot to talk about tonight. So do me a favor. If you're watching us on X, we are live, by the way. This is the final whistle here on SEC Live at the Voice of College Football. I am your host, Lucas Hill. You can follow me on the socials at Lucas Hill SEC. You can follow us on the Voice of College Football on X at THEVOCFB. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we are sponsored by our friends over at the Voice of College Football website. Going over to vocfb.com/shop and use my promo code VOCFB Gamecocks to get yourself a nice little discount whenever you use my promo code. Guys, I am just borderline shocked at what I just watched. Jackson Arnold, have a freaking game. I mean, just have a freaking game. You know, we talked about earlier in the week, whenever we previewed this game, that who was going to own the line of scrimmage. And if Auburn could hold up against a pretty good Dave Aranda defense, let's just be real with each other, guys, that they could be able to steal, that maybe this could go Auburn's way. But we knew this was going to be a battle from start to finish. We knew at the end of the day what was going to happen. But guys, I mean, you can't get any better than what we had. We cannot get any better of a start to the season than what we just got. You know, we had a great game with Colorado and Georgia Tech. And now this one. Both of those games, let me tell you what. If, like I said, going up against a Dave Aranda defense and you run for 307 yards, 307 yards and average 6 yards a freaking carry. Look, we told you it was a trench warfare from start to finish. Who was going to own the line of scrimmage? Tonight, Auburn did. Auburn did for majority of the game. You held your own. You forced bad plays to be made. And you were able to take advantage of them. You made play after play after play after play. You got after Sawyer Robertson. You sacked him 4 times tonight. You were in the backfield. You executed on special teams. You played the perfect game. That's exactly what you needed to do at the end of the day, guys. You played the perfect game from start to finish. First drive, I was a little nervous, but we'll go through it as we continue. Guys, y'all do me a favor. There's about 20 of you in here. Do me a favor. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you're watching us on X, hit that like, hit that repost button. By the way, we would love to get your thoughts and comments. We have our open phone lines, which are now available, 843-350-2534. Make sure you guys consider calling in. Guys, that's a statement win if you're Auburn. Massive opening day win. So, we'll go through the play-by-play. We'll take you through the key events that happened throughout the game. Guys, this was just a dogfight from start to finish. So Auburn's defense takes the field first. And I was a bit concerned after this opening drive. You get a big play to Michael Trigg. Guys, by the way, Michael Trigg was all over the field. If you're Auburn, you're back 7. Let's just be real. You have some concerns in the secondary. I'll say that. But I think overall, I don't think you're going to go up against another program that's going to throw the football damn near 50 times. LSU, we'll see what happens with them. But I think apart from that, guys, I think that's the only real team that you're going to face that's going to throw the football 50-plus times. That's impressive. We got a phone call right away.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
All right, you're on the phone with Lucas Hill. Oh. You're on the phone with...
This is your boy, yes, sir. This is your boy, TriStar. Thanks for having me on tonight.
What's up, man? How are you tonight?
Well, just got done watching local high school football where I live, and we got beat 50-0. But other than that, pretty good.
What'd you think of the game tonight?
Well, the games of actual SEC teams were good. Obviously Auburn beat Baylor, and you guys might laugh at me, but yes, Georgia Tech beat Colorado, the Big 8. I did not stutter.
The Big 8, man. I mean, you're talking to somebody that's 21 years old, man.
Screw the Big 12. Listen, man, as someone who used to work up in western Iowa and was in Omaha and Denver and Kansas City and Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, all those areas, I'm telling you, you go ask any of those fans that have been going to those games for years and years, they want that thing back.
So with the current landscape of how they are right now, it might as well be the Big 8 because you've only had a certain amount of teams that are going to be consistently contending for the college football playoff, but in the Big 12.
And you get the rivalries back. You get Kansas, Missouri. You get Missouri, Iowa State for that telephone trophy that I love to death. I mean, literally, Kansas, Missouri, for God's sake. That rivalry was literally forged in bloodshed.
Yeah, I think it was one of the oldest rivalries in college football before it got disbanded.
So basically, that actually goes back to before the Civil War in the sense, if you know your American history, called Bleeding Kansas, which basically led to the Civil War. And their team nicknames, the Kansas Jayhawks and Missouri Tigers, actually link to that time period. The abolitionist group that fought the pro-slavery Missourians were called the Jayhawkers. And the Tigers were a Missouri militia group that fought the Jayhawkers.
Wow.
So those two are they're so linked with each other, and it's just pure blood hatred. Go watch them on Twitter, for God's sakes, if you don't know what I'm talking about. They haven't played a football game since 2011, when they left the Big 12. And you would think that they just played yesterday for a national championship spot.
Yeah, that game next week's going to be interesting with Missouri and Kansas. I mean, you've already mentioned it. They haven't played since 2011.
Border war.
That border war is going to be fun, man.
You go ask Kansas fans, they'll say, oh, Kansas State, Nebraska, I would say Oklahoma. Those are rivalries, but Missouri is a war. That's what they'll say.
Wow.
And it's great. Yes, it's different. It's literally like Clemson, South Carolina, or Alabama, Auburn, Florida State on steroids. It's to the point where if, say, Missouri is playing at Kansas in, say, basketball or football or anything, they will stay in Kansas City. They will not spend money in Kansas because they don't want to contribute to the Kansas economy. That's how serious it is.
Wow.
And it's the same way the other way. The Kansas people won't spend money in Missouri.
Makes
But again,
sense.
like I said, that goes back to before the Civil War, and that's one of the very few college rivalries that was literally forged in bloodshed.
I mean, you talk about bloodshed. Missouri's offensive line better step it up, especially with how you performed last week. Look, Bo Pribula had a great game yesterday against Central Arkansas. That first half, though, I was very concerned about Missouri's offensive line going up against a Kansas defense that looked lights out their first 2 weeks of the season. So it's going to be a fun one next week.
Well, again, like I said, Missouri, I could care less what they do because no OG SEC fan has ever considered them SEC. And I tell everybody, we don't claim any team that's been added since '92.
So I'm guessing you're a Georgia guy.
No, I'm Tennessee.
Oh, your area code is 404. I just looked it up. It's from it.
Well, I know it is. It's because I used to live in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I just kept area code.
Okay, so you're in the heart of SEC country then.
Oh yeah, and you go talk to tech people, they're like, "Yes, we're going to end up back in the SEC by the time it's all said and done."
Anything can happen at this point.
Mm-hmm. Just like I'll give you what I see. The 843 area codes out of South Carolina. Here's a little tidbit. Now you might think I'm crazy on this. I believe South Carolina and Maryland end up going back to the ACC eventually. I did not stutter.
I mean, Maryland for sure. I don't know about South Carolina. I mean, they've pretty much established themselves in the SEC at this point.
Well, with the reason with South Carolina, and I've spoken to Carolina Jackpot, or some South Carolina friends on Twitter. They still hold a big grudge with the North Carolina schools because they kind of view USC as a bunch of dumb rednecks, basically.
Okay.
But I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, well, I'm just saying that's how UNC and NC State and Duke all view South Carolina. They view it as less. You go ask any of them on Twitter, they're like, yeah, well, they left us.
Right. Well, I mean, wasn't South Carolina in the Southwest Conference before?
No. You're thinking of Arkansas and Texas and Texas A&M. That's who you're thinking of.
Where on God's earth was South Carolina at?
No, South Carolina was a founding member of the ACC.
Oh,
right there,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, originally the ACC was the SoCon. Was now the modern SoCon. They were all in that, but then they formed the ACC back in the early '50s. And like I said, South Carolina didn't get along with the North Carolina schools because they thought they had too much political power. Over there in Charlotte.
Damn, you are a history buff, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am. I know my history. And for example, South Carolina has played Georgia every year since the dawn of time. But the other their five most common opponents are North Carolina, NC State, and Wake Forest. If you don't believe me, go on Wikipedia, look it up.
Hey, I mean, I believe you. I mean, you've given pretty decent information already, so I have no reason to say you're wrong. So.
Yeah, and keep an eye on this. Like I said, y'all can find me on Twitter. I've used to work with Mark, who runs Voice of College Football, a couple years ago. Great guy. But I'll tell you this. Talking to, for example, I'm assuming you know who Michael Alford is, right? He's the athletic director of Florida State.
Yes.
He is actually from my hometown. He's from Cleveland, Tennessee. That's where he's from.
How much of a year did that make? How much did a year basically get his ass off the hot seat? Because Michael Alford went from being pretty much the most hated man in Florida athletics to now everybody is starting to love him. You get a national championship in basketball. You get a national championship contender in baseball. And now you got a rising program in Florida football now.
No, he's at FSU, not at Florida.
Oh, I thought you said he was the athletic director at Florida.
No, he's at Florida State.
Okay.
And
well, his situation is about to get bad, so never mind.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm in the woods, basically, at my house.
Oh, gosh.
But basically, Yeah, well, everybody keeps talking about this ACC team or that ACC team. Like, I've seen something about North Carolina and Virginia. I said, no, that's never going to happen. And people's like, what do you mean? I said, well, with North Carolina and their state government, unless you're willing to bring Wake Forest, NC State, and Duke with them, it's not happening.
Right.
The state will shut that down immediately because they want them to all stay together.
5 minutes left in the game.
And Virginia doesn't want to leave Virginia Tech and North Carolina because there's a lot of history.
Right.
Obviously, with the ACC. And they don't want to leave Virginia Tech. And I think the state would shut that down. And I said, well, actually, you are right about one of those ACC teams, Florida State. Florida State will eventually be in the SEC. But the SEC and Florida State have
come
been flirting
on.
with each other since. No, I'm being serious. Go look. They've been flirting with each other since the 60s.
The 60s. Well, why? Well, here's the thing. Florida State's been wanting to get out of the ACC for what the last. It's been more widely well known over the last 2 years, but they can't get it because they don't have the funds for it. They can't afford a $70+ million buyout until the end of the decade.
Exactly. That's why it's not going to happen yet, but it will happen. Coming the 2030s is when it will happen.
Oh, hell will freeze over when that happens.
And Florida has already said that they would allow it. They wouldn't vote against it.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they would, and it's their freaking rival. I mean, it'd make it even better for them because knowing at the end of the year, it'd make more sense for them to play each other, not just because they're going to be both in the same conference. It'll make more sense because they're so close to each other and knowing that the distance between Tallahassee and Gainesville is separated by what, hour and a half, 2 hours? I mean, that's a damn good opportunity for you to get some more TV revenue as well.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Florida State, Tallahassee is only 2 hours from Auburn. You're right there on the Georgia border. Kirby Smart's from Bainbridge, Georgia, literally 20 minutes from Tallahassee. You don't think Kirby would love to do homes all the time at Florida State? With Georgia? Of course he would. And the other team, again, people laugh about me on this, but I'm telling you, watch out for it. They're starting to come up. And they already got history in this conference considering they were a founding member, Georgia Tech. It ain't going to be Clemson. Clemson does not want to leave the ACC.
All I can say is anything can happen at any given moment, man.
Yeah. Well, just mark my words on this. It's all going to end up going back to regionalism, and all the conferences are going to downsize because you've already got teams complaining about the scheduling. About how, like, for example, how is it you can have in the same conference where you have one state in Mizzou has a cakewalk, but then Oklahoma got absolutely shafted?
I mean, that's you got to realize these schools schedule games literally 3-4 years in advance, maybe longer.
No, the conference slate. Like, go look at.
But I mean, the conference slate is almost the same just about every year. You play your regular opponents from the middle of October on. Early conference games are kind of jumbled around every 2 to 3 years.
But like I said, just mark my words on it. I mean, you can think I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but I'm telling you, mark this down. That's what will end up happening.
Like I said, anything's possible.
Domino. And here's a hot take right here. The first domino is Texas will go independent because they feel like they're bigger than a conference. They feel like they're God's gift to football, which they've always felt that way, and they've got the money. And they see what Notre Dame's doing, and they will not stay in the SEC. I think that was just a temporary move, and I think eventually they'll go independent.
Just don't see it.
That'll be the start of it.
Just don't see it, man. I genuinely don't, to be honest with you. So, I mean, you're more than willing to have your opinion on it. I also have mine. There's no way in hell that Texas is going to go independent. There's too much. You're going to miss out on some TV revenue. If you go independent, look, you're still going to get your good schedules in there. And not that it really matters when it comes to you being independent. But when you look at a program like Tennessee, how often are you seeing them on national TV? Maybe once every every year they're probably going to get 3 or 4 games on national TV. Texas, you're going to see them appear on ESPN, ABC, whatever national station that they can be on. They can't afford it. They go independent, that's loss of revenue.
Maybe.
So.
But we also got to think about, too, with these universities, their endowments, this TV money is that's just icing on the cake.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But anything can happen, man. Anything's possible. So all we can do is just let it ride and let the politics handle themselves and let the administrations handle themselves. So.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, another thing, too, watch out for those West Coast schools leaving. Because they're not going to stay there forever because they're losing their ass financially right now.
West Coast taxes, man. West Coast taxes are ridiculous there. So blame it on the political system. That's all I can say. Hey, TriStar, I appreciate the call, man.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too. Open phone lines are back open, 843-350-2534. Going through the play-by-play. You get a big pass to Michael Trigg. You get a first down. Byron Washington to the 3 for a first. Bryson Washington. Look, early on, the run game was elite for Baylor in this game. And you had to get the run game going on a consistent basis throughout the entirety of this game because you had to set the tone early on. We talked about this on Thursday. If you can establish the line of scrimmage first, then you're going to put yourself in a much better position compared to where you were then. So you're able to run the football effectively. Bryson Washington goes for 18. Caden Knighton goes for 17. You get 1st and 10 at the inside the red zone. You want to know what your next 3 plays were for Baylor? Caden Knighton, back-to-back draws right up the middle. No gain. Sawyer Robertson tries to dump it back out to Bryson Washington. That's incomplete. They tried that dump-out pass into the flats to the running back twice on that same drive. You couldn't get anything going on that one. Not a thing. And I think what's so frustrating about that is that it just was not a good play call. It wasn't effectively set up. You could read that out immediately. You'd have that safety come down, boom, immediately either break it up or he'd be in the backfield for a TFL. So you have to settle for a field goal. Auburn's first drive, absolute dog water. Damari Alston run for no game. Jackson Arnold, most of the passes that Jackson Arnold had today, 2-step drop backs, getting the football out quickly. That was the mantra of today's game, was getting the football out as quick as possible and making plays down the line of scrimmage. Getting the football to your playmakers and letting them work was the number one thing that Auburn was doing most of the time. Early on, it was an issue, but after that, we'll get to it later. Then on 3rd and 10, Jackson Arnold tries to scramble. He gets sacked. So Baylor takes over. They have a little bit of momentum. They get a big play. Boom, Cole Wilson. Cole Wilson was all over the back 7, man. Cole Wilson was dominating in the receiving game today. Guys, Cole Wilson's going to be a top-tier receiver in today's Big 12. Cole Wilson's going to have a really, really good year. He may end up being one of the best receivers in all of the Big 12, in my opinion. But what do you do for the next 3 plays? You go draw up the middle with Bryson Washington. 1 to the Auburn 5. 2nd and goal to the 3. 3rd and goal. This is a perfect opportunity for Baylor's offense to go out and run an RPO. Why on God's earthly name Jake Spavital did not run an RPO inside the 5 is beyond me. Auburn was doing it left and right with Jackson Arnold, and it was effective. Guys, people got to stop acting like Sawyer Robertson can't run the football. Guys, Sawyer Robertson can run. I mean, it's no surprise, at least to me, that he can be effective running the football. I don't know about against this front four, but compared to other better fronts, I mean, when you look at what BYU had last year, sure, he may have had only 29 yards rushing on 12 carries. Guys, he was still running the football. You didn't see that during the back half of the year, especially the last 4 games of the season. You just did not see anything like you saw early on from him, like you saw in the back half of the season. Nonetheless, not like it would matter. It's 4th and goal. This is an opportunity for you to get points, make it a 6-0 game. Instead, you try to go for it, and you throw a horrible pass in the back of the end zone to Michael Trigg, and you turn it over. Auburn took the momentum right there and ran with it. From that point forward, Auburn owned this game. This is where I think the turning point of this game really showed itself. Well, I wouldn't even say really this one, but Baylor led a team that, let's just be honest, in my opinion, I thought Auburn was going to lose this one. I thought that they didn't have really much of a shot. I didn't trust Jackson Arnold. Now after this one, look, Baylor had 1, 2, 3 turnovers. All of them turnover on down, so we're calling them turnovers today. You led to 10 points. Baylor left points on the board. Auburn took advantage of them. Baylor didn't. So after a pretty methodical drive, when you get inside the 5-yard line, you can't get points. Auburn takes it over. You know what they did? They ran the football and ran it right at this Baylor defense. And it's no surprise, by the way, Russian defense, I mean, in my opinion, guys, Baylor as a whole, were they always this good run defense-wise? No. On a Dave Aranda defense, guys, guys, last year Baylor was 70th in the country in rushing yards allowed. You allowed just 156.6 yards a game. Auburn last year, they were 28th. Guys, Auburn had a top 25 defense last year. Not that it mattered, but especially when your offense didn't do shit. Excuse my French, by the way. By the way, guys, hey, if you're watching us on Twitter, make sure y'all consider watching us on YouTube. It helps boost the algorithm, helps boost all the great stuff that we have going on here. Y'all make sure y'all do us a favor. I'm about to post this in the chat. Y'all make sure y'all consider watching us on YouTube. We got a good bit of y'all that's watching us right now, so I just posted it in the link. Make sure y'all go check it out, okay? So, this is what Auburn did. Damari Alston, 4-yard run. Damari Alston, 11-yard run. Jackson Arnold, run for 3. Jackson Arnold on 3rd and 7. Run for 9, first down. You had back-to-back false start penalties. Doesn't matter. Jackson Arnold passed to Malcolm Simmons for a first down. Jeremiah Cobb, 9-yard run. You had a 4-yard run. Jackson Arnold, beautiful, beautiful design play, touchdown right in the right up the middle, 24 yards on the speed op, or not on the speed option, but on the delayed RPO, because initially when he's going to hand it to Eric Singleton, whenever he's in the backfield, I think he might have pulled the ball back like he was going to throw, saw the hole, took it right up the middle in 24 and out the gate. Auburn gets a big stop. You get a sack in the backfield, and you force them to punt. That one, again, the ground game was incredible for Auburn. Jackson Arnold, pass complete to Horatio Fields. Damari Alston, run for 4. Jackson Arnold, run for 11. Jackson Arnold, run for 17. Eric Singleton to the 19. Damari Alston, run for 10. Damari Alston in the red zone, touchdown. Auburn's offensive lines owned Baylor's ass all night long. All night long. So, we want to talk about a Dave Aranda defense and how they were pretty efficient last year in run stopping. Guys, you can do as much as you can in the second half of the season if you are Baylor. Guess what? You can't stop the run to save your life. And the thing about Auburn is, the big difference between them and Baylor is that they got yards after initial contact. They got yards whenever it was necessary. They got yards when it was needed. They didn't put themselves behind the chains to make it 3rd and long, to get themselves even into third down situations. They didn't need to. So after that one, starts off with a pretty decent drive. Sawyer Robertson to Ashton Hawkins for a first down. Caden Knighton run for 4. Caden Knighton run for 3. Why the hell didn't Baylor go away from Caden Knighton? John Delafera, guess you didn't see Auburn unable to tackle. You talking about Baylor? I mean, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're trying to get at. And I know, look, believe it or not, I did see Auburn have a little bit of missed tackles. You compare that to what Baylor had? Dave Aranda defense, man. So on 4th and 3, you're at your own 44. And you go for it. You try to throw it to the big man. Michael Trigg was a guy that was going to get his touches, was going to get his targets. Big tight end, dude. I mean, 6'4", 240. Yeah, he was going to get his freaking touches. Transfer from Ole Miss. Dude's a freaking monster. But wouldn't matter. It's poor coaching on defense. Hopefully it doesn't bite them against better teams. You talking about Baylor or you talking about Auburn? But regardless, Auburn takes over with a short field. Jeremiah Cobb, run for 7. Eric Singleton, run for 4. Guys, Eric Singleton, everybody knows him with what he did in the pass game last year with Georgia Tech. And remember, that was a run-heavy offense that Georgia Tech ran with Buster Faulkner and the effectiveness that he was in the option game and letting his playmakers get the football as much as they could last year. Guys, Eric Singleton was going to get involved no matter what it was, whether he was on end arounds, whether it was on pop passes, whatever it was. They were going to get Eric Singleton the football as much as they possibly could. Jackson Arnold throws to Cam Coleman. By the way, man, what a throw that Jackson Arnold made to Cam Coleman, and an even better adjustment on the ball by Cam Coleman. That's why Cam Coleman shows why he's going to be one of the best young receivers in the SEC. But you sputter inside the 10. You have a pass that's incomplete to Cam Coleman in the end zone. Jeremiah Cobb run for 1, and then Jackson Arnold gets it to Brandon Frazier for 6. You settle for 3. Alex McPherson, by the way, what a story. What a story if you guys haven't heard about Alex McPherson. He was a guy that last year had to have his, I don't know if it was his gallbladder or part of his intestine removed. Lost a lot of weight, missed if not most of last season due to that. And then he comes back and he's your field goal kicker, man. That's just an incredible story of resilience, man. Incredible story. So you settle for 3, but then here comes Baylor. You got the passing game involved. So you basically at this point is when Baylor eventually abandoned the run game and got to into passing situations. Sawyer Robertson, Cole Wilson, Bryson Washington, run for 12. Sawyer Robertson to Cole Wilson. Sawyer Robertson to Cole Wilson. See a pattern here? Sawyer Robertson incomplete to Michael Trigg. Bryson Washington then to the 2. Tried to get Ashton Hawkins on the slant. Was incomplete. Then on 4th and 8, one of 2 freaking 4th down calls from this Baylor offense. Y'all listen to Todd, by the way. Give me a thumbs up if you've been watching. It helps a lot. It does help boost the algorithm. It does help boost more viewers onto the show. And by the way, guys, open phone lines if you just want to jump on into the show and call and give your thoughts on the game from tonight. 843-350-2534. By the way, guys, I'm also live on the South Carolina channel in 2 days, so I'll be going live then in a couple days, breaking down South Carolina and Virginia Tech. By the way, we'll be live tomorrow after all of SEC action, breaking down all from around the SEC. And by the way, you better be tuned in for tomorrow. We're going to have a good show. But 4th down call, what do? Auburn's playing safe. They have 1 safety in the middle. DJ Durkin's loading the box. They put pressure. Sawyer Robertson, 3-step drop. I got my man on a go route in the end zone. Boom. Touchdown. Get you back in the game. You go to the half up 17-10. I did want to address one play, though, before the half that was pretty wild. Todd, is it USC or game? It's Gamecocks. My bad. Did I say USC? I thought I said South Carolina. That's my bad. I don't remember what I did. But he gets sacked by Kendrick Simpkins for a loss of 14 to the Auburn 38. Backwards pass, but Jeremiah Cobb falls on it. Let's say Baylor falls on that football, though. You get a short field, 1:01 on the clock. You got 2 timeouts, and guess what? You got the football on the opposite side of the 50. You got a chance to possibly tie that game. That creates a whole different mentality for Baylor going into the half, knowing that they're only down, that they could go into the half tied up. Guys, that's a huge momentum shift if you're Baylor, but I did want to discuss that because Jeremiah Cobb is one of the luckiest SOBs around and probably is going to have a drink or two for a couple people, which, by the way, if you're listening right now, I would buy him a drink. Guys, if he doesn't fall on that football, Baylor gets a short field. Who knows what the outcome of that game ends up if Baylor is to score a touchdown there and go into the half only down by only tied. But it wouldn't matter. Baylor doesn't do anything on the offense. Except, well, they did drive down the field, get to the opposite side. Guys, that over the middle pass to Michael Trigg is going to hurt you, dude. Because if he catches that and he slides down, you call timeout, you load the field goal team out there, and you're only down 17-13. But you get to the third quarter, you exchange punts. Then Auburn finally gets the first points of the second half. And you know what they did? They ran the football not once, not twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times on the drive. They ran the ball. Jeremiah Cobb ran for 9. Jeremiah Cobb run for 2. Eric Singleton for 9. Jackson Arnold run for 21. Eric Singleton. Damari Alston. Eric Singleton. Jeremiah Cobb, touchdown. Todd's going to bed already. Hopefully Todd subscribed. We'll probably see Todd tomorrow, by the way. Backbreaker if you're Baylor. But, way to respond, though. Bryson Washington run for 1 to the Baylor 26. Big play over the middle to Michael Trigg. Get yourself a first down. So guess what happens? This one was another pretty big backbreaker. Sawyer Robertson throws to Josh Cameron, gets 11 to the 43-yard line, but there's a holding call. Actually, it's not even this play. It's I think it's the next scoring drive that they have. You get a big play to Ashton Hawkins to the 28. By the way, Ashton Hawkins out into the flats was so elusive. Ashton Hawkins was freaking bouncing off of tackles left and right. It wasn't even funny. Ashton Hawkins to the 25. Caden Knighton run for 5. Sawyer Robertson gets him to the 9-yard line. It was incomplete. Well, doesn't matter because there's a pass interference call, and you finally get into the end zone. Let me call my girlfriend right fast. Hey, babe.
Hey,
What's up?
I'm finally leaving.
Yay.
I could have left an hour and 22 minutes ago, but I decided to stay and help get my.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
My bad, y'all. My girlfriend called me. But continuing on with the drive. Look, you know what happens as soon as you get that one? Caden Knighton gets into the end zone on 4th and goal. Once again, second 4th down call, you get a score. Huge play for Baylor to get back into the football game. Very next play, Rayshawn Pleasant to the house. And by the way, I played against Rayshawn Pleasant whenever he was at West Monroe. Rayshawn Pleasant was a DB, I believe. Man, he was a freaking dog. But that's a backbreaker. Massive backbreaker. But Baylor again would respond. Boom, throw to Josh Cameron to the 48, first down. You have a holding call that backs you up. By the way, that holding call would have pretty much bring you to, I want to say, all the way near the 1 yard line, by the way. So you get a big play and you have a holding call, which was ticky-tacky at best. But you get into the end zone. Sawyer Robertson to Michael Trigg on 3rd and 2. So now this is your opportunity if you're Baylor. You got to get off the field. Got to get off the field. Guess what? You can't get off the field to save your life. 3rd and 8, Jackson Arnold to Horatio Fields, 1st down. 3rd and 3, Jackson Arnold doesn't get anything, but there's a holding call on Baylor, 1st down. 3rd and 3, Jackson Arnold to the 36 for a 1st down. 4th and 1, Jackson Arnold, same RPO play as they ran in the first half, bam, touchdown. Baylor couldn't shut down the frickin' an option to save their life. They couldn't maintain quarterback contain to save their life. And guess what happened? Jackson Arnold made them pay. Because Jackson Arnold knows how to effectively run the option and run the football. Has a high football IQ. That's why he can run the football with ease. And then the very next series for Baylor, you would get inside the red zone again. And on 4th and 1, this is it, guys. You got to pick up a 1st down to keep the game going. You try to throw into the end zone, it gets tipped. I'll say that Michael Trigg had an opportunity to catch that football in the back of the end zone. Guys, Sawyer Robertson had room to run off the right side too. And you're going to look at me and you're going to say, well, that's not true. He was getting pressure. Guys, he had room. I didn't like the play call. I didn't think it was a good decision. Sorry. You can like what I have to say. You cannot like what I have to say. Guys, Jake Spavital made a bad choice to throw it into the end zone on 4th down when it's 1 yard to go. You know what? And guess what? You ran for 307 yards. And to John's point, I wouldn't say it's poor coaching, but I will say that it's fundamentals. Guys, you're taught on basic fundamentals how to wrap up in open space. You hardly, if at all, saw that. Just my opinion. Just my opinion, guys. I mean, you could not get off the field to save your freaking life. It's too high. Run the damn ball. So that's just what it is. But again, Baylor's got a great roster. I'm going to say this. Sawyer Robertson, pretty good game. 419 yards, 3 scores. Guess what? Got pressured most of the night. Had negative 19 yards rushing. Hardly ever saw him scramble. Was really shocked to see that. You know what Jackson Arnold did? I don't care that he went 11 to 17. And on the throws that he did make, he was consistent. Extremely, extremely consistent throughout the entirety of the game. That's what got you beat. That's what got Baylor beat. Is their inability to effectively shut down option and own the line of scrimmage. Auburn did that. So I was wrong about Auburn. Guys, they own the line of scrimmage tonight. They showed a lot of people that they can compete at a high level. Now, I will say this. You get a couple weeks. You play Ball State. You play South Alabama. Tune-up games. Get everything in order. And then guess what? Next 2 games are really going to be where you're tested. You passed the first one. Now let's see what you can do when you go to Norman and go play a good defense with R. Mason Thomas, who's one of the best edge presences in college football. Then you go to Texas A&M, who they've got their own running quarterback as well. So anything is possible in that game, guys. Anything is absolutely possible when we talk about a game like this. 307 yards rushing. Let me repeat that. 307 yards rushing. You know what Auburn's defense did? They held Baylor's rush attack to 70. That's what it is, guys. That's going to win you a game, is when you own the line of scrimmage and when you own running the football. Auburn did that. They got their playmakers the football as much as they could. Cam Coleman, I know he had 1 catch. Guys, he took advantage of it. This was the day of the run game. You ran the football 52 times. You got an array of running backs into that game. Darrell Robinson, you got Eric Singleton involved twice. Jeremiah Cobb, 16 carries for 74. Damari Alston looked like a freaking bowling ball. You think Jackson Arnold looked impressive today? You gonna forget about Damari Alston. Damari Alston looked like a freaking dude running the football. That's how it is, man. That's what's going to win you football games on a consistent basis. So, guys, obviously we got a big couple of games tomorrow. What a game, though, from Auburn. What a way to start for the SEC. What a way to make a statement. But we got a big one. By the way, if you didn't catch Missouri and Central Arkansas yesterday, Missouri's offensive line started to struggle in the first half. Yeah, there was no way that I was looking at this properly and saying what Auburn was or what Missouri was doing, knowing how they were struggling on their front 5. Caden Green was getting his ass beat by FCS guys. Second half, they turned it around after that first touchdown drive, or that second touchdown drive, I should say. Guys, Bo Pribula is your guy. No question about it. Pray for Sam Horn, man. Wish him the best. Guys, he really had a good start. 23 of 28, 283 and 2 scores, and ran for 65 and 2 more. 4 total touchdowns. Ahmad Hardy, 100 yards on 10 carries. So we said that Ahmad Hardy would kind of carry the workload for the first half of the season until you found a guy. Well, you already found your guy, and I don't think Ahmad Hardy's going to have to worry about carrying the workload. So, but I am intrigued to see the option game. We were talking about some of the best option offenses in the SEC. We talked about what Texas A&M brings, what Texas brings, what Florida could bring. Guys, I don't think anybody in their right mind, Oklahoma, I don't think anybody in their right mind had Missouri coming into the picture and seeing what they could potentially do with guys like Pribula, who could get outside the pocket and run, with Ahmad Hardy, who's a hard runner. Guys, this is going to be a fun season. I'm excited to bring all this to you with you. We'll take about 5 more minutes, get you guys to come call in 843-350-2534, 843-350-2534. Y'all make sure that y'all tune in and go ahead and get some questions asked. If you guys have any thoughts on the game, man, y'all call in. If y'all want to join in the link in the StreamYard, I got the link posted in the YouTube comment section. It's in the Twitter sphere. Y'all make sure that y'all come on and give me your thoughts overall, man. By the way, how about Tarleton State? Shout out the American Conference. We covered Tarleton State last year because I'm from Southeastern and I'm from a Southland Conference school. By the way, Tarleton State played Southeastern 2 years ago. Victor Gabalis, man, 16-30, $152. The run game was all over. Ran for $192. But I mean, just a gritty effort from the Texans to pull away from a huge victory on the road. Biggest victory that they've had in a very, very, very long time. But again, you can't help but be happy for Jackson Arnold, man. I think this was a much-deserved victory for him after all the little bit of a bashing that he went on through the offseason, for myself included. I was not very high on Jackson Arnold coming into the season. Now, am I going to be high on him now? A little bit. I'm going to put him higher than 12th. Where do I have him? Actually, 13th on my power rankings now. He might enter the top 10 once it's all said and done, once we get to Monday. But I think overall, guys, Jackson Arnold's showing you why he can be a pretty good threat in the SEC. He brings you almost that kind of what you saw in games like Bama, in games like what he could do in the bowl games. You know, I think that overall Jackson Arnold can be a very, very effective quarterback for Auburn at the end of the day. And I think he does have that opportunity to do a lot of good for Auburn. And this could end up being the guy that saves Hugh Freeze's job at the end of the day. And it's hard for me to say after just one game. But guys, it's hard not to be impressed with what you saw on the field. Hugh Freeze's offense has always been about running quarterbacks. It's especially in his time at Auburn and even dating back to the Malik Willis days at Liberty. You know, you saw what he was able to do. You saw what even Peyton Thorne at times, even though he gave Auburn fans a freaking headache every time they watched him play, guys, he was still really, really, really good running the football when he had his moments against pretty good defenses. You go back and look at that Georgia game from 2 years ago, he was running the football pretty well. So that's just my thoughts on it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. What are your overall expectations for Jackson Arnold this year? And I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds right now. If you were to rank Jackson Arnold in SEC quarterbacks, drop your ranking in the comments section if you want to. I'm going to give you mine right now. So I'll give you guys about 30 seconds. Actually, I'll make it, 30, 45 seconds. I'm going to wait. I'm going to look at this timer. Once we get to the hour mark, I'm going to start it. Boom. Give me your thoughts. 30 seconds, guys. I mean, we're trying to get this chat up involved, man. Because I say that okay, I have Jackson Arnold in my pre-SEC Media Days rankings. I think I have him at like 12 or 13. Maybe lower. I might have had him at 14 to be straight up with you. So, whoops. Yeah, I had Jackson Arnold at 13. I am very wrong right now. But hey, at least we still got a little bit of the season left in them, guys. So it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited to see Jackson Arnold. Guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We had a great turnout tonight. Glad that you guys came in, saw some of the show. We will be back tomorrow following LSU and Clemson to break everything down around college football and around the SEC. So make sure you guys do us a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell notification so that you are notified every time we go live here on SEC Live with the Voice of College Football. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, y'all stay blessed. Y'all be safe. Y'all have a great night. Drive safe. Don't drink and drive. Enjoy responsibly if you're an Auburn fan, by the way. Y'all have a good one. See y'all tomorrow.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.